You write in the book that in the White House staff, people roll their eyes at the evangelicals. They call them nuts. They call them goofy. Is that really what the attitude was?
Absolutely. You name the important Christian leader, and I have heard them mocked by serious people in serious places.
Specifically, he says, people in the White House political office referred to Pat Robertson as insane, Jerry Falwell as ridiculous, James Dobson had to be controlled. And President Bush, he writes, talked about his compassion agenda, but never really fought for it.
The President of the United States promised that he would be the leading lobbyist on behalf of the poor. What better lobbyist could anybody get?
What happened?
The lobbyist didn't follow through.
What about 9/11? All the priorities got turned about.
I was there before 9/11. I know what happened before 9/11. No. The trend before 9/11 was, president makes a big announcement and nothing happens.
Kuo speaks as an insider. Even before he became the #2 guy in the White House faith-based office, he had a long resume in the world of Christian conservatives.
We will rally the armies of compassion in our communities.
Kuo says he took candidate Bush at his word during the 2000 campaign.
This is where he proposed for the first time that he would spend $8 billion on programs for the poor.
I think it's one of the most important political speeches given in the last generation. I really do. It laid out a whole new philosophy for Republicans.
And now it is my honor to sign the 2 executive orders.
After the election, to much fanfare, President Bush created the Office of Faith-Based Initiatives to increase funds to religious charities. But Kuo says there were problems right off the bat.
It drops down very quickly down the list of priorities.
But how much money finally went to them?
Oh, in the first 2 years, I think $60 million. When you hold it up to a promise of $8 billion, I mean, I don't know how good I am at math, but I know that's less than 1% of a promise.
Today we repent.
Part of the problem, Kuo says, was indifference from the base, the religious right. He took us to a convention of evangelical groups, his old stomping ground, and walked us around the display booths looking for any reference to the poor.
Yeah, you've got, homosexuality in your kid's school, and you've got human cloning, and partial birth abortion, and divorce.
Not a mention of the poor.
This message that's been sent out to Christians for a long time now, that Jesus came primarily for a political agenda. And recently, just primarily a right-wing political agenda, as if this culture war is a war for God, and it's not a war for God. It's a war for politics, and that's a huge difference.
When the Washington Post ran an article in September 2002 saying they were using the faith office to woo voters, even though the president had repeatedly pledged it was not political.
This is not an initiative to try to gain political gain.
The White House shot down the Post story, but now Kuo reveals it was all true. And what's more, he's the one who thought up the idea.
This is your idea to tie this office that was supposed to be nonpartisan. You come up with this idea to tie it to the campaign?
I want this initiative to work. Right?
And you think if you can get it tied, hooked in with the political people, that they'll come back and support you? Is that the thinking?
This is not rocket science or brain surgery. Right? This is a matter of survival.
He says he went to the White House political office, then run by Ken Mehlman, and offered to hold events at taxpayers' expense for Republicans in tight races as a way of energizing religious voters.
So what was Ken Mehlman's reaction?
He was through.
In retrospect, was it morally wrong?
I feel like it was more spiritually wrong. You're taking the sacred and you're making it profane. You're taking Jesus and reducing him to some precinct captain, to some get out the vote guy.
He believes they helped some Republicans win elections.
That just the name of God is just being destroyed in the name of politics. I felt like I had to write this.
You're calling for a fast.
Yes.
That's your expression.
Yes. I think that Christians need, particularly evangelical Christians, need to take a step back, to have a fast from politics. People are being manipulated. Good, well-meaning people are being told, send your money to this Christian advocacy group or that. And that's the answer. You know, it's just not the answer.